Hello everyone and welcome to the Vortex, where lies and falsehoods are trapped and exposed. I'm Michael Vorse. This past weekend, Church Militant was at the Cleveland Right to Life, Bringing America Back to Life event, where we were once again honored to be presenting. One thing interesting about Church Militant coming to these events is the flood of comments we get from hundreds of people about our usual day-to-day work. In the beating heart of the pro-life movement is a vibrant Catholicism, steeped in the faith, belief, and truth that every man and woman is made in the image and likeness of God and therefore possesses a certain dignity. It's truly a blessing to attend these types of events with other men of goodwill and speak directly with people who follow us and greatly support our work. We also get to speak with a pretty amazing number of clergy as well. Their comments are just as supportive and in many cases even more so, because while many laity get the reality of the nightmarish condition of the church at present, the clergy, who are good men and faithful priests, understand it from the inside. So they may be more private in their praise and support of our work, they're also in some ways more effusive. One thing we hear from them is how a good number of bishops and establishment types absolutely detest us. Hate your guts is the one phrase that comes up with some regularity. Well, while we don't harbor the same feelings or thoughts for them, we do detest their works of darkness, of which there are many. It seems, however, that in the past few months, perhaps a little longer, in addition to being labeled as demonic and doing the work of the devil, yeah, that was publicly said, the memo seems to have been circulated among many prelates in the church that Church Militant should be spoken of in terms of destroying the church. Internally, we're branded as unforgivable, the unforgivable, divisive. So let's be clear on this front, shall we? There actually is some truth to these assessments of being divisive and destroyers, but not the way the wicked prelates want you to think about it. Church Militant is dedicated to the restoration of orthodoxy throughout the church, with the specific aim being the salvation of souls. Period. That's it, nothing more. However, in propping up the truth and glory of the faith, it has become evident that some things, many in fact, need tearing down. They need demolishing, in fact. Unlike Martin Luther, who tore down to create something new and false, Church Militant demolishes untruths in the church to strip them away and restore the glory, reveal the glory. Remember, Martin Luther, most of that first generation of Protestants, they were in fact rotten Catholics. They were renegade, immoral, disbelieving clergy who despised the faith and trumped up all kinds of theological fantasies to rationalize their destructive behavior. Pretty much like many of the hierarchy do these days. It's clear from looking at the U.S. hierarchy that collectively they are either stupid in matters of the faith, malformed, uneducated, cowards, or wicked, or some combination of all of the above. They are, in essence, Protestants who this time around simply stayed in the church, which, by the way, at least Luther had the decency or the integrity to leave. These men today don't. They just hang around. They don't really believe or stop to consider that the Catholic Church is the one true church. One true, period. And all other so-called churches are man-made and therefore false. They do not contain within themselves, as a constituent part of themselves, the true means of salvation. They may contain certain elements of truth, but only insofar as those align with the truth of the Catholic Church. Alone, they crumble. Yet, we bet you nickels to donuts that the vast majority of today's bishops in America don't even come close to believing that. For the record, Your Excellencies, a dogma of the Church that there is no salvation outside the church, and no, because someone is baptized does not mean everything is all good. In fact, given the dismal decline in baptism in recent years, I'm not even sure that point is something that you would believe. Here's a sad truth that must be embraced moving forward for any Catholic serious about engaging in the spiritual war for the church. And it is this: many Catholic bishops are not really Catholic. Catholic how it matters anyway. Sure, they were baptized and ordained and consecrated and so forth in the church, but the church is not in them. They don't love the church. They don't transmit the truth of the church. They likely do not even believe the teachings of the church, at least many of them. They allow dissent, evil, and immorality run rampant with their priests, staff, faculties, theologians, and so forth. So yes, Church Militant seeks to actively destroy this evil. You bet your sweet crozier we do. This evil prevents the truth of the church from being presented to people. It more than waters it down. In many cases, it actually obliterates it. How else can you explain that more so-called Catholics believe in same-sex marriage than they do the real presence of Christ in the Blessed Sacrament? More so-called Catholics accept contraception and the murder of children in the womb than attend Mass. So-called Catholics believe these perversions because their bishops believed, accepted, and embraced them first. And now the shepherds are merely transmitting to the sheep what they have to offer, which is anti-faith. So if Church Militant is considered divisive for addressing all this, well then we stand guilty as charged. So are of no concern, souls are of no concerns to these hireling shepherds in this life or the next. So if Church Militant is labeled as destroyers of the church for exposing the evil while also pointing to the glory, then again, guilty as charged. But there's one forgotten group in all of this, good men who are priests, but who have not been properly instructed. To these men, and we know there are many, you hear the constant derision of Church Militant from the Episcopal ranks. So we'd like to propose this to you. You decide for yourselves. See if we're all about destruction and division for its own sake, or if we understand this is necessary for the restoration of Holy Mother Church. So any priest who wants to be offered a free premium account to view any or all of our theological and catechetical programming, thousands of hours now, please contact us by email or phone, and we'll set you up free of charge to view as much as you would like. And for the record, this particular idea was actually proposed to us by a priest. We know the reputation we have, however undeserved, but we want to make one thing extremely clear. We love Holy Mother Church. If when the time arrives to die for her, we pray that we're given the necessary graces to endure that martyrdom. This is the bride of Christ. Nothing else on earth matters, nothing. This is the only religion established by the incarnate eternal Word for our salvation. To willfully die separated from her is to virtually ensure your own damnation. Popular? Nah. Politically correct? You bet. Incorrect? You bet. Extremist? Without a doubt. But if you're not suffering for the truth, then you don't love the truth. And since Jesus Christ is truth, that means you die of your own volition outside his loving embrace. Now, when is the last time you heard your bishop tell you like that? And if the answer to that question is either I can't remember or they never have, well then ask yourselves, why not? Why aren't they talking like that? God love you. I'm Michael Voris.